I'm now going to go through my actual CV that I actually used that got me hired into Etihad, and I'm going to be reading directly from there and running you through exactly what you need to do based off of the CV that I had. Hey gorgeous, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you've read today the title of the video, we're going to teach you, I'm going to teach you how I made the perfect CV that got me hired as cabin crew on the first try by Etihad. I want to preface this video by saying that even though the CV plan that I have might be somewhat foolproof, it is only one of so many aspects of the cabin crew process. So even though you do make the perfect CV that is concise and well readable and neat and beautiful, but unfortunately if you do not match the height requirements, still it will be overlooked that you have a good CV. If you do not have if you have a tattoo, or if you have just whatever it is that the other aspects and requirements are, if you are lacking in that department, unfortunately, if it's not something that is improvable or that you can work on, the CV is not going to help as much. But let's go ahead and start with number one. Before we even start with the actual CV and the details in the CV, we are going to start with the prep. The prep of the CV is, number one, your picture. If you are going to be using a picture, of which is not necessary to use a picture, I know some cabin crew who have made CVs that did not include their pictures and still got hired, but if you are going to have a picture, the picture needs to be neat. You need to be well dressed, well put together. If you're a girl, hair slicked back, or even if you have a bob, just look neat, dress like the job that you want. And if you want the job of cabin crew, you need to dress like someone who works already as cabin crew. Your makeup needs to be well done. Your attire needs to be decent and appropriate, not revealing. You need to be very conservative. And for a man, you can't have super overgrown beard, unbarbed, and just like undone hair. You can't wear a tank top. You have to dress up professionally. So those are all the things that you have to definitely take into consideration before you even start with the CV. That being said, you do not have to go and take your pictures professionally. If it is something that's accessible to you and you want to, beautiful, absolutely go for it. But if it's not something that's accessible to you, that you can afford at the moment, do not feel like you have to pay out of pocket. If you have a friend or a family, just get a place that has a nice plain background, stand very neatly, even in daylight. Take the picture, you can edit and brighten the background so it looks just like a normal white background or however. So please don't feel like you have to spend lots of money to get professional studio photo shoots. If anything, you can go to those little photo booths that they usually have around that takes the ID photos, and you can take your ID photos and you can smile in the ID photo. Get dressed appropriately with your makeup done, with your hair done, a tie back, or however your hair you choose to have your hair. And you can take that, and then I'm sure that they can email you. They are usually emailed versions, I'm not sure. So that's the first thing. The second, once we've done with the pictures, which is optional again, now we go into the actual CV. Before we even start typing anything, the CV has to be very simple, concise, and legible. So your colors that you go for, I would rather go for just a black and white or very neutral colors, black and white, navy blue and white, or even go for the colors of the company that you want to join. So if you do want to join Etihad, for example, we have purple. I would maybe make it a very dark purple and white, for example, or just black and white if you're not sure. Having too many colors can be distracting and can come off as unprofessional. Now that we've got that sorted out, let's say we have black and white. I'm now going to go through my actual CV that I actually used that got me hired into Etihad, and I'm going to be reading directly from there and running you through exactly what you need to do based off of the CV that I had. So we're going to start at the very top. On one corner, you're going to optionally have your picture, which will be, you can make it in like a little square or a little circle or whatever. On the other side, you will have your full name, or your first name and your surname, if you've got a really long like middle name. I will put Titi Mazadi. You can put aspiring cabin crew underneath, or future cabin crew. I put future cabin crew because again, that's the job that you want, and that's the job that you're putting yourself out there for. And then right underneath that, you can leave a nice space, or you can put it in a column, however. And then we go straight into personal information. Personal information is please do not say your eye color and your hair color. Yes, it is personal, but it's not professional. We don't need that. And if you put your picture up already, we will see that you have green eyes or whatever. So first, you start with personal information. You first start with how they can reach you, which is your mobile number. You start with your mobile number and then your email address. Those are the first two kind of important things. And then after that, you follow by nationality, which is the country that you're born in, and then your date of birth, your marital status, and your height. So even though we do not need to know what color your eyes are, what color your hair is, height is a very important factor when you want to apply to be cabin crew. So that's something that you definitely have to consider. So definitely put your height over there. Okay, that's done for your personal details, your personal information. Anything that you might find to be additional to that, maybe one or two things. I couldn't think of anything else to add there. Other personal details, maybe you can put your nationality is I'm Congolese, residing in the Netherlands, of which I was at the time. I didn't put that there because it was a physical open day, so of course they met me and they know where exactly I was living. Personal motivation. Your personal motivation is like your cover letter that you would have on a CV, except we're not doing an entire letter. It is just a paragraph. I have here 8 lines, about 8 lines, which still is much, but it is clear and concise. It's very persuasive, and also it ties every single point about me. It's kind of like an about me, yes, but it ties everything back to cabin crew. I'm going to read mine as an example. I used quite a lot of very big words that were very persuasive, that were very enticing, and that were very pulling you in and being like, she would make a good candidate, just by the way that I worded this personal motivation. Dynamic and enthusiastic candidate ready to embark on the role of cabin crew. I possess a strong foundation in public speaking, facilitating an effective communication with passengers from diverse backgrounds. My experience in rugby, dance, and swimming demonstrate exceptional physical fitness, discipline, and resilience. Qualities essential for meeting the demands of cabin crew role. I aim to contribute positively to the in-flight experience, ensuring passenger comfort, safety, and overall satisfaction, using experience in hospitality, adaptable communication, and commitment to delivering exceptional service. So that was my cover letter. It is very grasping. I would want to hire anyone who can put all of their skills. And these skills that I'm putting in are sports that I played in high school. I didn't go and get a PhD in whatever. I didn't study marketing. I didn't study hospitality. I didn't study anything. It's just points about me and things about me that I know tie back into being cabin crew, and how I would use my about me, my hobbies, my interests, my previous experience to add or to bring value as a cabin crew. So try always to think about that. How do my skills and my interests and my hobbies bring value to the job that I want? Okay. Now we're going to move on to the 5th, which is professional skills. Professional skills are any skills and abilities that you feel give you an advantage, or anything that you feel that you are good at. I put quite a few. Number 1, teamwork, safety awareness, adaptability, conflict resolution, multitasking, fluency in English. That is a very good one, because you have to, of course, be fluent in English. Problem solving skills, customer care, communication skills, cultural sensitivity, professionalism, and interpersonal skills. Now, these are my skills. I did not want to put the fact that I speak French because I only speak it in a basic conversational level. I speak Lingala, but I don't think I will be encountering a lot of people who speak Lingala. I speak a little bit of Dutch, but those are skills that are not that extensive. So what I'm going to say is, do not lie. Do not puff yourself up and say that I am fluency in English, French, Arabic, Italian, whatever, because they, especially when it comes to languages, they will use that. We fly all around the world, and if you declare or say that you can speak a language, you will be put on flights as the language speaker to, in case of emergency, for that flight. So just, if you're not so good at a language, just say English. I think as long as you're fluent in English and speak good English, you can add that in there. If you know that you are fluent in other languages, because everybody I think here is bilingual, then you can put fluency in English and French. Beautiful, right? The other thing I wanted to say is that your CV can be more than one page. Don't feel like, I would rather put everything in 2 pages where there's still some space and there's a good flow, rather than trying to cram everything into 1 page, and then it makes it not legible. Like, I can't read it if you've squeezed everything, or you've made the font really tiny because you want to squeeze every last detail into 1 page, rather than just taking the liberty of using 2 pages. Now, 3 pages is a lot, sweetie, unless if you maybe are a veteran and you've already worked in aviation. In that case, you don't even need like a crazy CV. You can just put you still can only put 2 pages would be good. The next, we are going to go into professional experience. The reason why I'm saying putting professional experience over education, because usually people would put education and then experience, is because you only need a high school diploma in order to be cabin crew. So even if I went to university, and I don't want to put that I went to university, I can just put I graduated high school, khalas, and that's all that they need. But with your professional experience, you need a minimum of 1 year. It can be 1 year collectively. I worked 6 months over here, and then I worked 3 months over here, and then I worked another 3 months over there. Altogether, 1 year minimum for experience in order to be chosen as cabin crew. So just keep that in mind, that your professional experience, if you have a high school diploma, your professional experience is more important, because a high school diploma is just, you just finished with high school. What did you do after? Did you work at the library at your school? Did you know, those sort of things. So I'm going to go straight into it. So your professional experience, I would prefer for you to do from your most recent going down to the oldest job that you did. And then you're going to put them in a bullet point. I'm gonna put an example somewhere there of how I did mine. Bullet points. I was an au pair, so I put au pair. You put what company you worked for. You put where it was, South Africa or Netherlands, January 2024 to current, for example. If that's the job that I'm still working in, you put the start month and year to current, to now. And then you give a brief description, 1 or 2 point brief description that again is still captivating and it still has a link to aviation. Okay, I'm gonna go for this one. I'm gonna read only one of them that I feel that was very well written and has 3 points that again tie back to cabin crew. So waitress / junior manager, because those were the positions that I held in that company. The name of the company, and then I will say a such and such restaurant in South Africa from February 2020 to March 2022. In brackets, I put 2 years and 1 month. You can leave it just from this month to from this time to this time, but I just put there however many months, just also so it's concise, so they can add them up. Okay, so it's 2 years over here plus 5 months over there plus 6 months over there. That's 3 years. Perfect. So I'm just gonna read it out to you, my responsibilities and how I made it still sound very cabin crewy. Okay. Balanced multiple responsibilities, including taking reservations, answering phone calls, assisting with guest inquiries with professionalism and enthusiasm. Seated guests quickly, warmly greeted and welcomed guests upon arrival, providing a positive and inviting first impression, while clearly communicating the menu specifics to enhance their dining experience. Upon promotion to junior manager, the role consisted of administrative duties, stock taking, and reordering of stock, as well as supervising kitchen and wait staff to ensure seamless and timely service delivery. Those are key words that I threw in there that tie back into cabin crew. You have to always be warm and kind and smiling and enthusiastic and good first impression and good positive energy, but you always still have to be concise and to the point and direct and open, clear communication with the guests. Do you understand? Those sort of things. So this over here is about 6 lines or 8 lines, I guess, describing my work history with this specific company, but it's so enticing and it grabs you in that, okay, from this time to this time, she was doing this. If I had such good promotional ability, especially in aviation where sometimes it's very quick for you to be promoted and taking on different responsibilities, they say she is good as a team player and she would be good to promote to a higher. Do you understand? Those sort of things, because you tied it back to aviation. The next one, educational history. You're gonna put your highest level or whichever level that you want to share. I put National Senior Certificate, which is your high school diploma. In South Africa, we call it a National Senior Certificate for the high school, such and such high school. And then you put, I passed with the such and such pass on this year. Diploma pass, whatever, bachelor pass, whatever. 2029 was when I passed. And then you put again a point. I put the point there to be like, even though I didn't finish the year with distinctions, I still was avid or very good. I'm just going to read it out. Despite modest academic marks, I consistently excelled in extracurriculars, particularly in rugby, swimming, dance, and public speaking. Even though you can say that, yeah, I was not the smartest person in the room, but I was very athletic, I was very outspoken, I was very well at such and such and such and such and such. Okay, these little details, I'm not saying to lie. You don't have to have been the MVP of your soccer team to say that you played soccer. Do you understand? Just say that you did very well in it. You did very well, you did your best. And then last but not least, that I add in there just to add a little bit of pizzazz, again tying back to aviation, would be volunteer work and certifications. If you have any other certifications as like short courses that you did, I did a fine dining short course, I did a cooking class short course where I was certified, I did a first aid course, whatever. Those things still help and tie back to aviation, or that tie back to skills that you've learned. For me, I said volunteer animal care, and you put the date from this date to this date at the society, at the SPCA. I got my first aid certification on this month and this year at such and such and such hospital. And that, my friends, is the end of my CV. Please take everything that I've said with a pinch of salt. My experience, my skills, my personal stuff is different from yours. But with that being said, throw as much pizzazz as you would like. We are in the age where there's AI, there's ChatGPT. I'm not saying ask ChatGPT to write down your whole CV, because it can sometimes look disingenuous if everything looks extremely curated. Yes, we want it to be professional, but we don't want it to look fake. If you cannot find the extensive vocabulary in which to share your points, ChatGPT, absolutely, she's your girl. She's your girl. Professional way of saying excited. They will definitely give you the word. Or you write your personal motivation, you send it to chat and you say, chat, how can I say this? Please help me word this in a more professional way. And it doesn't mean copy and paste from chat. See that, okay, I used this instead of using excellent. I use this instead of using this word. I'm going to swap the words, at least so you elevate your vocabulary a little bit and make it more desirable. So, lovies, that was my tips and tricks for my CV, and with direct examples on how I did my CV. If you guys would like anything else, please let me know. I will be posting very soon a video of my apartment tour. I don't want to disappoint you. It's not furnished, it's not super furnished, but I will post it anyway because it's a beautiful apartment, and that'll be my next video. Please let me know what other videos that you would like, what other video ideas, and until next time, bye.